you right now? What location are we?
34C off of 93 in Franconia, NH
All right,
in New
and
Hampshire.
this is this is Karen Collman. She started the Visibility Brigade, and describe what that is.
Well, Visibility Brigade was started by Dana Glaser in New Jersey. And I just happened to come upon him right after Trump was elected. And I was looking for something that would be effective, and I just couldn't sit home, do nothing. So he's been making messages with individual boards, each letter, and he spells out a message. And he's been doing it for 5 years. But it was mostly about his local area and other people that were being elected in New Jersey. And then what happened is other people like myself saw what he was doing and started doing it in different part of the country. So we made a sign. The first sign we made was hands off. It wasn't even on a bridge. It was at a protest in Littleton, New Hampshire, which was the first hands off. I guess that's what they called it. I can't remember.
Right.
And so eventually we started doing these messages on bridges, and we've been doing it pretty solidly throughout the summer. Started in late spring, throughout the summer into the fall, every week.
Right. That's
And
fantastic.
yeah.
So how's this connected to the New Hampshire Bridge Brigade for Democracy?
Well, just because that started up and we connected because we saw it, we're doing the same thing. And we follow when they do a statewide thing.
Okay.
That's when we come out in the winter, but we do our own thing too. Like we're
Right.
doing something on January 6th. It's a Tuesday because we have a few members who really feel really strongly and they have a message they want to put up. But people in our membership can take initiative and do whatever they want.
Right.
As long as they take care of the letters, bring them back, take care of them, everything's fine.
Yeah.
So
It sounds
it's
like
great.
you're very, very organized and a lot of support. You built a lot of
Oh
good
yeah,
community.
a lot of community. I had to take a break after Thanksgiving because I've been battling this illness for this cold and this virus for a long time.
I mean, that speaks a lot about the
Yeah,
commitment is to be out here in the cold.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, I had to take a break. And that week where we were going to take a break, I got 2 phone calls from 2 guys, 2 men who have been part of our group, and they said, "It's not okay that we're not doing a bridge. It's not okay." And they said, "Can we have 2 words, real simple, resist, and we'll go down to West Farm Road and we'll just be there every Sunday."
Right.
And I said, "That's fantastic. Go for it."
That's awesome.
And so I got to take a break, and they've been keeping it up.
So, another question is, but how effective do you think the messaging is, and how does that play a role in informing, moving the movement forward?
Well, I mean, I've read so many articles about the effectiveness of protesting. And basically, what it does is that people have their own lives that they live, but they also see what's going on around them. And what's being proposed as this new regime is so far from our constitutional rights and so far out of the norm,
Right.
right? That people are like, there's something wrong here. And what happens when you go and you see something like this on a bridge and you see people standing there is you realize that you've been having these doubts, but there's a whole bunch of other people that are also having doubts.
Right.
And all of a sudden you realize that what you are thinking by yourself is really not, you're not the only one.
You're not alone.
You're not alone. And it actually helps motivate you to be thinking that, oh, I could be doing something. And there are people who have come here, who many of these people here are here because they drove underneath the bridge.
Yeah.
And there are people who actually, it gets so emotional, they never would have thought that something could be as powerful as this. Well, then what happens is they come on the bridge and start participating. And all of a sudden, that sense of complete, being depressed or like feeling like they have no power
That's so important.
just
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah.
They feel like empowered. They feel like they're part of a community, and they just, before you know it, you just have people taking initiative, and then they talk to their friends, and they talk. It really, truly is a grassroots movement, and Dana Glaser says two things that I think are important. One is that we have been neglectful in our paying our rent to democracy.
Yeah.
So, in other words, we have
Well
not
put.
engaged
Yeah.
enough in what he considers to be civic action. And this is true civic action that people can participate in. And the other is that no matter what we do, whether we agree on everything, how we do it, whatever, that's all minor. What's important is we're here to save our country. That's what's important.
Right.
And I know people on the other side feel as strongly the other way, but we have to stand up and say there are certain basic things that are historically important in our country. The Constitution, following the law, it's critical.
Yeah.
And we can't throw that away.
Right.
It has been successful for 250 years, and we have to continue to pay attention to saving those things. And then we can work out our differences as we go along.
Right.
And we have to continue to find ways to reach each other.
Yeah. And that's a segue into my last question is how do you see the end game? When do we stop being on bridges? How do you envision that? Or, maybe how long that might take?
Who knows? I mean, it might evolve into being a constant sense of how communities share what they care about. I don't know. I would be willing as long as I'm able. I don't see an end in that sense.
Right.
I don't think that way, that somehow this has to come to an end. I know that I get tired and I get like, this is too much. And I know I need to take a break. But I also know that that sense of is going to go away and I'm going to come back.
Right.
On any level that I can. So that's all about changing the culture to a truly civic involvement.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So I see the end game, maybe a transition. We will know the time, but we don't know when that
right.
end game
when
is.
when you're
And that hopefully, transforms into different forms of action, involvement with government, and making a difference
for sure
for sustaining
right. The one thing you could know is you can look back on history and you can see that it rhymes. But when you're in the middle of history, you really can't see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really can't.
Yeah.
And you just do the best you can.
Right.
And that's what we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you for spending the time to
sure
answer some questions.
Sure.
Thank you.